The Titanic was called unsinkable, but on his first voyage across the ocean, he sank. We all know the story: an iceberg, a collision, a tragedy. But what if that wasn't the whole truth? What if the ship was already damaged before the iceberg touched it? What if a secret fire, burning deep inside, helped destroy the Titanic? Fast? In April 1912, the Titanic was ready to set sail. It was the largest and most luxurious ship ever built. A floating palace with golden staircases, electric elevators, and space for more than 2,000 people. First-class passengers walked on thick carpets and dined under crystal chandeliers. The world was watching. The newspapers were excited. The Titanic wasn't just a ship, it was a symbol of human progress. But underneath all the beauty, something dangerous was already happening. On the lower levels of the ship, very close to the boiler rooms, was a coal bunker. Here, tons of coal were stored to power the ship's engines. Coal fires were not uncommon on steamships. But on the Titanic, this fire was different. A few days before departure, workers noticed smoke rising from one of the bunkers. The coal caught fire and could not be put out. They tried. The men put burning coal aside, working in extreme heat. But the fire continued to spread inside the pile. Time was short. The ship was scheduled to depart. Delaying meant lost money, and admitting a fire, this can cause panic. So they made a decision: let it burn. The fire burned at more than 1,000 degrees Celsius, day and night for almost a week. And it was burning right next to the steel hull of the Titanic. Heat like this weakens the steel, slowly, quietly, invisibly, but dangerously. The exact area the fire touched was near the starboard bow of the Titanic, the same side where, a few days later, the iceberg would hit. Only a few engineers and stokers knew about the fire. They were told to keep quiet, to continue working. No one told the passengers. No one mentioned it in the ship's official journal. But some would later remember the heat, as coal was used up faster than expected. How the walls glowed red behind the bunker. Then came April 14. The night was calm and cold. The sea smooth as glass. No moon, only stars. The watchmen couldn't see ahead. No binoculars were issued. And suddenly, just before midnight, the iceberg appeared. The Titanic capsized, but not in time. It scraped along the starboard side. Steel bent, burst dishes, and 5 compartments flooded in minutes. The Titanic was designed to float with 4 damaged compartments. But 5? This doomed the ship. For decades, people have asked, why did the Titanic sink so fast? Why did the hull open so quickly? In 2017, new evidence was presented. Rare photos, taken even before the ship left port, showed a dark band on the hull, a long black mark, exactly where the fire had burned, exactly where the iceberg hit. Experts studied these photos. They compared them with eyewitness accounts, and the theory became clearer. The steel was already weak, weakened by the heat, rendered brittle by fire. When the iceberg hit, the metal didn't bend, cracked, like glass under pressure, and the ocean flowed. If the fire wasn't there, if the hull had remained strong, would the ship have survived? We may never know for sure, but many believe that the fire made everything worse. It became a disaster in a tragedy. So why didn't they stop ship? Why not delay the trip? The answer: pride. The Titanic was the jewel in the crown of the White Star Line. Delays meant shame. The Titanic had to prove that it was the best. And admitting a fire would hurt business. It can scare people. So they hid it. They sailed anyway, with a fire burning inside, with the steel getting weaker by the hour. Some engineers knew about the risk. They worked hard to control the fire. They sacrificed their lives to keep the ship moving, but they were caught between duty and silence. And when the ship sank, many of them went with it. Today, more than 100 years later, we still remember the iceberg. But few remember the fire. Few talk about the choices made or the ignored warnings. The Titanic was not sunk only by nature. It was sunk by the pressure, out of pride, by silence. And maybe that is the real tragedy, because sometimes the danger is not what we see in front of us. It is what we ignore inside, what we bury, what we hide. A fire far below, and it can bring down even the strongest ship. If you like this story, follow us, activate the bell, like, share, and comment what you thought and which story you want us to talk about here in the next video. I will post videos every week.